Yeah, thanks for being here, guys. Really pleased with the win tonight. We have a lot of respect for what they're doing over there at UIC. Rob's done a great job. The roster he's put together in a short amount of time, it's kind of the new age college basketball, right? I mean, they only had 2 returning guys from last year, and he's gone out and gotten some really good players, quickness, guards, shooters. We knew from watching the Yale film from over the weekend, I mean, they dismantled Yale, and which is a really good. I'm not disparaging Yale by that. I'm just saying that shows how good this UIC team could be, and they were. And we knew we were going to have our hands full tonight because they presented a lot of problems with spacing and quickness and driving you with shooting. We're still figuring out who we are. So, I told the guys after, could we play better? Yes, part of that is the other team. But, part of that is us. We missed 11 free throws, which is something right now we can't do, especially when you don't have Brooks. Those are free points. We're trying to find offense in different spots. You have young players that night to night are going to be young sometimes, and the freshmen were young tonight. They were great against Dayton. Tonight they were freshmen, and that's going to happen. And, we had all kinds of foul trouble. Leach with 3 in the first half, Nick with 2 in the first half, managing that and being up 2 at the break. I thought that first kind of to get the lead, 14, we got it to 14 there. Then we had a few, we had done such a good job the whole game with taking care of the ball. And then we got up 14 and we had 3 or 4, just really careless turnovers. And just talk to the guys about how quickly a game can change. We should have had the ball up 14 there. We had gotten a defensive rebound. You come down and get another couple buckets, the game is going to be out of reach. But all of a sudden you turn it over and they get in transition. They get 3-point plays. They hit a couple threes. Now it's a 5-point game. Now you have a lot of game pressure. And the good thing was when we did face game pressure, we responded. And I thought Justin Mullins had a couple big-time plays in the 2-on-1 situation when they were pressing us. He had a layup and then found Luke the next time. And then, I thought our guys did a good job the rest of the game taking care of the ball. And we hit some big shots. Nick, brought us home there. His little flipper, that he hits there in the middle of the lane. I mean, it's amazing to see what he's doing. I'm just so proud of him. He's such a warrior. And what's great about Nick is he's just so immersed in the game. He doesn't know about stats or points, or he's just trying to win, and he's just a guy you want on your team all the time. What a great college player.
So they cut it to 4, about 1 minute 30 left. What were some of the things that they did to kind of cut the lead down in that moment? And what does it say about Nick that he's grown to the point where he can hit a shot like that in clutch time?
Yeah, we had some careless turnovers. We had that little stretch. Justin had one when he got a great rebound and he kind of saw the out and he just passed it under the basket and they stole it. Ty had a couple where he got sped up on the press that led to baskets. Luke then had one. I think we had 3 or 4 in that stretch where we turned it over, kind of got a little rattled, and they did a good job. They were applying pressure on the dribble. They were drawing fouls. They were driving us hard, and then they have really good shooting. Their bigs can shoot, so they spread you out, and they get you chasing, and they were able to make a few shots and get that lead down and put some real game pressure on us. And then, I thought Nick did a really good job. Just kind of we got organized. We ran a couple go-tos for him in the middle of the floor and had a couple big 3-point play, another floater there, and then we were able to get a couple stops when we needed it to get it back to double figures.
Coach, against the soft pick and roll coverage, Jalen Leach really found form in the second half. What did you see out of him specifically today and his ability to kind of control the offense?
Yeah, he was able to get to his spots, which was good. And I just wanted him to be aggressive. I thought he was on his heels a little bit in the Dayton game. We talked about that. I thought those guys kind of brought the fight to him in that game. And I want him to play with aggression. I want him to attack. Want him to get to his spots. We need him to be a scorer, a guy who can get in there. And he just, because he has size, he's really good against the drop coverage. And as long as we could sets good screens on those guards and he could get to the elbow area, I thought he was going to have some success, and fortunately he was able to. And then I thought he had a big 3. There was, when we were kind of spraying the ball a little bit, he had a nice little shot fake, 1 dribble 3 that was huge when we needed it.
Continuing with Jalen, he had foul trouble in the first half, and then he really had foul trouble in the first half. What was, I don't know if there's a conversation at halftime, but the gamble to start him in the second half paid off.
Yeah.
What was your mentality making that decision and his mentality responding?
Yeah, Matt, you guys have been following me a lot. I'm not one of these coaches that's just 2 fouls, you're automatically on the bench. You kind of got to know the player I'm just coaching him now. So, some players, can handle playing with 2 fouls in the first half. Some players maybe can't. Tonight I put him back on the floor with 2. I thought he was going to be able, and then he had a real slot where he threw he had an offensive foul there where he threw a kid off him, which was not a good play. And so we talk about those things, but I've never been afraid to play guys with fouls. I think it's kind of trusting the player, knowing the player, that they're going to play smart and understand that, I got 3 now. And the reality is too, guys, we don't have a whole lot of other options. Like our freshmen, had a tough night tonight, and as they were tremendous against Dayton. But they had a tough night, and they were just freshmen, and that's going to happen. They're going to be great some nights, and they're going to be freshmen some nights. And so all of a sudden they were going through that. And, with Brooks being out, there wasn't a whole lot of options. So we needed those guys to play through foul trouble.
Coach, speaking on the freshmen, specifically, Angelo checked in about the 9-minute mark, picked up a dead ball foul, and you took him right back out. What do you say to him, struggling all night and just...
Yeah, just can't have that. I mean, really what I was trying to do there, guys, I was trying to get Nick Martinelli a minute of rest because I was trying to rest him before the under 8 timeout. So we actually had sub for Nick to just see we had a lead there, could we get him a minute where then he could get the media and then he could finish the game. So, you got to be smarter as a young guy. And we talked after. I said, did you even know we were in the bonus? And he said, no. So, you got to come in. That's part of growth. You got to learn. And you can only learn by going through it. And we've always played our young guys. That's been a part of our program's DNA. That's why some of these players are good players when they're older, because they play when they're young and they figure things out, and sometimes they look like young guys. And so that was just a real teachable moment. And then we're in a situation where we got to win the game. So at that point, I just felt like, man, he came in, had a silly foul. We got to get Nick back in there and kind of ice this thing away.
Coach, could you talk about the defensive resiliency when the shots weren't falling in the first half?
Yeah, we talked about it after the game. We said it was a grind, and we just had to grind it out. Not only shots, but free throws. It was uncharacteristic for us. We missed 11. Nick missed 5. Leach missed 3, but 1 or 2 of those were 1-and-1s. So really that's 5 or 6 minutes. So those are points we're leaving on the table. I think Matt missed a lob dunk. It was just kind of one of those. We didn't really make any threes in the first half. It's just one of those games that happens, and we had to kind of rely on our defense there in the first half, holding them to 29. And then we got to shore up our second half defense. This is the what happens a lot, guys, is when you play defense in the first half, you're in front of your bench. So not only are the guys out there, but the whole bench is talking the guys through the schemes. Get over that screen, switch. When you're in the second half, it's just those 5 guys because the defense is away from you. And so we've just had 2 games in a row where I think we gave up, 47 against Dayton, and now 45 tonight. That's too many. That's too much. And Dayton, I think, was 24 in the first half, and tonight it's 29-45. So we gotta shore that up. And it's game 3, and the good thing is it's always good to learn while you still find a way to get a win.
More to the middle here.
I want to ask you, Coach, about Ty Berry, because
Yeah.
I know obviously ramping back up from the injury, had a couple of not the games that we wouldn't exactly expect from him, but tonight 13 points,
Yep.
had a few big threes down the stretch.
Yep.
So what'd you like and what'd you see from him down the stretch as a veteran guard, kind of the leader of your team?
Yeah, I thought he made some nice plays tonight. Hit a couple big shots when we needed. The first play of the game, we ran a little set to get him curling it. I thought he made a great pass to Matt on a lob. It's gonna be a little bit of time with Ty, and he's healthy. It's not about that. It's just when you have a serious leg or foot injury, it's the mental piece of coming back and the rust of your timing. He literally started playing maybe 2 weeks before our first game. In terms of where he was fully cleared to play against live competition. He was doing drills and that, but he didn't play all summer where he could kind of shake some of that rust off. So he and Matt right now are shaking off 8 months of rust and 8 months of coming off major surgeries. So we understand that. That's why we're trying to find a way to win while those guys keep getting their legs underneath them. You don't have Brooks Barnheiser. That's like, there's a lot. We're integrating new players. So that's why this is a good win tonight. There's a lot of things going in to our team as we're trying to build who we're going to be. And if we can find a way to win while kind of going through some of these injuries and pains and rust, then we're going to be that much better once we kind of hit our stride.
Coach, Nick seems like he's starting to get a lot of respect from other teams as a shooter. How much did that open up the floor for not only him but the entire team?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, last year. That was a big thing he wanted to do, was improve his three-point percentage because he's so good in the paint. He's unbelievable in the post, all those little flip shots, but now, his ability, if you go under those screens or you play off them, he's really shooting the ball with a lot of confidence from the three-point line. I mean, I think that's 2 games in a row where maybe he didn't miss a 3. I think he was 3 for 3 Dayton, 2 for 2 tonight. He knows his bread and butter. Still going to be in the whatever you call those shots. I call them flippers, and some of the post ups. But to add that to his game, the ability to shoot the 3 is making him just a really effective scorer at this level. He's a hard cover, and that's what's exciting. Like, because Brooks is a hard cover. So, for me, once we can kind of get Brooks, you have those 2 guys out there. They're going to make everybody else better. And that's what we just got to hold down the fort until we can get hold.
So when you talk about UIC, brand new in the scape of college basketball, like a team that's put together, DePaul's the same way, but Chris from Ohio State.
Yep.
But what do you make of just college basketball in just greater Chicago area now? Obviously, UIC, Loyola.
Yeah, I think it's on the upswing. I really do. I mean, I love what all those programs have done. Rob's a really good coach. I think he's going to do great things at UIC. He knows what he's doing. I mean, look what he put together in a short amount of time. This is a good team. This is a team that's going to be good in the Valley, guys. I mean, they're going to compete. Like, trust me. They're going to win games in the Valley and be a factor in that league. There's no bigger fan in the game of Chris Holtman than me. I mean, I love the fact that he's there, but I don't, because we got to compete in this area. But you talk about somebody who knows how to build a program. He's going to get the right guys in there at DePaul. He's going to get that thing going at a level that it hasn't in a long, long time. And look, they're already the way they're playing, but he's getting his kind of guys in there. He did a great job in the portal. Look what Valentine has done at Loyola. I mean, he's taken what, after Porter left, he's just taken it and run with it. He's doing a great job with his program. I think we're doing pretty well, ourselves. So I think it's exciting. Hopefully people in this city, I know this is a big basketball town. There's been a lot of talk this week on play callers and things of that nature, but we're basketball season now. And, I think there's going to be some good college basketball in the Chicagoland area.
On that note, a lot of good basketball in the Chicagoland area. It's always kind of the talk at this time of year about putting together a Chicago Classic type situation.
Yep.
Is that something that would interest you?
Yeah, it is. It's just what happens is, Matt, is the scheduling piece is a tough dynamic. So it really does interest me. I think it could be a good thing if it were able to work out. They were doing it in Indiana, and now that's been disbanded because scheduling's really hard. You have 20 conference games. Everybody's kind of trying to put the schedule together that fits them. We've tried to do a good job every year of playing in-state teams. We got Eastern. We played UIC tonight. We got Eastern coming in. We got DePaul coming in a couple weeks. So, we've tried. We played Northern last year. So, we've tried throughout our scheduling. But, yeah, I think in theory, it's a really good idea. It's just kind of how do you put it together? When do you play it? How does it work? And it's got to work for all the teams. So it sounds great, but it's got to be, something that works for everybody.
Last question. Coach, Rob Eason talking to us just now, called Nick Martinelli, said he's playing like one of the best players in the country. Do you agree with that?
Who said that?
Rob Eason.
Oh, Rob did? Yeah. No, I think he's playing great. Yeah, I mean, I'd be hard-pressed to see across the country someone who's playing any better, and he does it in his way. He's just a really good player. He's not really a position. He's bringing the ball up the floor. He's playing in pick and rolls. He's posting. He's just a matchup nightmare. And just glad he's on my team because he keeps getting better and better, and it's fun to see his confidence growing.
Nick, this is your 3rd straight game with 25 points. What are you seeing to get to this point? It's such a hot start to your season.
Yeah, I definitely want to give credit to all my teammates, This guy especially setting me screens, rolling hard. He takes up a lot of space in the paint, so people can't really see over him. He's pretty tall when I drive. But yeah, I have a bunch of teammates that have a lot of trust, and I have trust in them. So yeah, I give all credit to my teammates.
Matt, first play of the game is kind of a set for Ty to come off a curl, and he finds you for the lob. What kind of went into that play call, and how long ago did you guys know you were going to be running that play?
I'd say about 5 minutes before the play happened. But I mean, we just every game we got to go into it saying, you know what, we got to execute this first play. Whether he came off for a shot, what he did, throw the lob, whatever it is, we got to do it to perfection because that's how we have to set the game up because that first play matters the most out of all of them.
Man, what's that energy like when you get to slam it home and start off the game?
It's awesome. I mean, I love it. I always think about the Purdue game 2 years ago where the first 4 points were dunks, lobs from Boo. So I just love being able to start off with the energy. The last home game, also the same thing. It gets me going.
Nick, do you feel like teams are starting to respect your three ball a little bit more? And if that's the case, how is that kind of opening up the floor more for you?
Yeah, I mean they were going under today. So obviously I had a lot of open 3-point opportunities and have had. If they go over, hopefully that can open up maybe some post ups or something like that. But yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm really just focused on winning the basketball game.
For either of you, Jalen Leach struggled in the first half with foul trouble, only 2 points, scored 14 points in the second half. What was it like to see him start to get going?
Yeah, we got a lot of trust in him. He's a great player. He did great at his old school. Came here. That's what we got him for. And sometimes it can be hard. Like last year, even Boo struggled sometimes, and then he'll get it going. We just got to have trust that they can do what they can do, and that's what they're going to do because that's why we have them here.
For either of you, huge second half, 52 points. What do you think changed in the half for you guys?
Yeah, obviously we talked in the locker room. We were super fired up to play that second half. Brooks gave us a great speech just talking about how, and obviously Brooks has been a great leader when he's been on. We can't wait to have him back. But he gave us a great speech about how you got to play every game like it's your last. You never know what's going to happen throughout the course of a game, throughout the course of a season. He knows that. Maddie knows that. Ty, you never know when you're going to go down, with an injury, God forbid. Yeah, he got us fired up. We were ready to go in the second half. Defensively, we definitely have to get better. We'll definitely hear about it tomorrow. But yeah, I definitely think, that talk, everyone was super energetic coming out. So.
For Nick, played 34 minutes tonight after 39 at Dayton a couple days ago. How have you worked on your conditioning to get ready for a much larger role this season?
Yeah, I mean, our strength coaches has been so good. You kind of have to balance out working on your conditioning with keeping your legs fresh. I've dealt with stress injuries since I've been here, working out and stuff. So yeah, he's definitely done a great job, and I've just trusted in him and the training staff to keep my conditioning up, while also, trying to find some hobbies off the court so I can stay off my feet.
Nick, something Coach mentioned that you just mentioned, the second half defense. In terms of, you're playing on the other end of the floor away from the team bench. You don't have, your teammates calling out, hey, switch this or watch the guy in the corner. How different is that from a defensive perspective? It's just the 5 guys on the court.
Yeah. I mean, the coaches, they watch so much film, they basically know every play that the other team's running so they can call out the sets, especially for young guys that aren't necessarily familiar with how important film is. They're not calling out sets on the other side where the coaches aren't, and sometimes we're looking at them and they're yelling stuff and we're like, what? And then they bang, come off, hit a 3, So, yeah, it's definitely a little bit different, but we'll get used to it. We got some young guys and some transfers, so they'll definitely get used to it.
Matt, 3 blocks and team high plus 16. How much pride do you take on the defensive end of the floor?
I always feel like that's my role as one of the captains, is kind of more of the defensive side. As you guys know, I don't really score all the points because I got this dude to do it all for me. But I always have their back on the defensive end, and that's why I play, is because I can guard and defend and then still do what I need to do on the offensive end, set screens and get everybody else open. So I prefer getting all those blocks and getting the stops than scoring these points. So that's why I take all my pride from.
Any more questions? Last one.
Yeah, Nick, the shot you do where you kind of push the ball, coach calls it a flipper. You come up with a name for it yet?
No, it's a shot.
No, it's not.